what would it look like to live like missionaries here versus thinking only missionaries go somewhere else. And that mind shift shifts people in the church significantly to start thinking, I think, more appropriately about what it means to be the church, that you're always being sent. When we first started Soma, it was just my wife and I, and we pulled together a group of people, some from past relationships, that wanted to be a part of a church that lived life on mission in the everyday, not just life together on Sunday for a couple hours. Looking at what it would be to be God's people wherever we're at. Paul describes the church, and he says Christ is the head of the church, which is his body in which he fills all in all, and that word body is Soma. And so for us, this picture of what would it look like to be Jesus' body filling the city, filling every place that we're in with his presence. That's really what we saw. That's what we believe the church to be. Every year, all of our missional communities sit down and identify who is it we believe God sent us to, or what place has he sent us to, and how are we going to radically reorient our lives for the sake of reaching those people. Our day-to-day, our week, is shaped by that covenant. The goal is to see it in the flow of life. Currently, our missional community is made up of Clay and Christy, who are friends of ours that we got to meet through our kids going to the same school, and Jim and Carrie Crabb, our neighbors from right around the corner. Nikki, our neighbor, a widow lady for 15 years now. Matt and Chelsea are more mature believers who joined us, and now I'm trying to train Matt to eventually lead his own missional community. Ian and Alyssa are a couple that joined us. In a lot of ways, we're disenfranchised with the church. Paige and Adam will probably be starting their own missional community in the next few months. And then, of course, all the slew of kids that are connected to all those people are a part of it as well. We love one another like brothers and sisters, and we love those we're being sent to as though they're the lost children of God. Our Sunday gathering, that's what we call it. We call it a gathering because we really believe it's the gathering of the church. We don't believe the Sunday is the church. We believe that the people are the church, and we should gather the church together regularly. And so we gather together weekly for that. I would say one of the things that I'm really hoping for every person in a missional community is that they could actually be the church without me. That they would get to experience what it means to be the people of God all week without necessarily needing to be at a meeting on Sunday. This is not just an act. This is your life. It's radically different. They all still respected him as a teacher. They still all looked up to him. There was still a great authority, even in his servanthood. When he was washing his feet, he was no less Jesus.
I began to see what Jeff was giving himself to, and some of the emerging leaders. I began to notice just how much he opened his house up, and how many of the other guys were giving up so much of their time. It wasn't just a meeting, and that was the other thing that frightened me. I was like, oh my God. I told Jeff when I was like, this seems like it's really gonna it takes all of your life. Like, this isn't just an event. But man, this has taste and flavor to when Christ first broke into my heart. This is submitting my life.
You could actually have a Bible study and be unfaithful to the scriptures. So oftentimes Bible studies stop. They don't actually create the church or lead to effective and healthy church. They often think that the goal was the study of the Bible instead of becoming a healthy family on mission. If you don't have mission, that will be an unhealthy family eventually, because there'll be no reproduction, there'll be no multiplication. Yeah, we study the Bible, yeah, we're a small group, but we believe that we should be sharing the gospel, making disciples, multiplying out, and expanding to the point that we reach the nations. I think multiplication is at the very heart of who we are. Jesus says, make disciples, and then teach them to teach others as well. Healthy disciples make more disciples. Healthy leaders raise up more leaders. Healthy churches plant more churches. And if you don't have multiplication at the end of what you're supposed to do, you won't actually do what you're supposed to do. That's what I'm convinced of. And most churches have settled with addition. And a lot of churches have just become orphanages. They know how to have babies, and they have a couple dads and moms for all the babies, but not nearly enough to care for them well, and they don't send them off to start new families. So it's a perpetual orphanage that they've created. And I think a church committed to multiplication will have great leaders ultimately, because they'll have to train them up to raise their own family someday. You don't have to be a superstar to plant that kind of church. You can be a normal person. And hopefully then it builds up around normal people, and you have a church made up of a bunch of normal people that have spectacular lives because of Jesus. God built it in the very fabric of creation. It says all the trees all have seed-bearing fruit, and the seeds are going to fall on the ground, they're going to reproduce, and there's going to be another fruit-bearing plant coming out of that.